Hi. Here we are again for one more evening with the Kalo Café. Today we have a new guest that came actually from Spain this time, but we go in a second more deeply on the guest of the night. First of all, I spend a couple of seconds explaining the Kalo Café for who is new with this event. And the Kalo Café is a monthly student meeting. Hi, girl. And our mission is to create a meeting point where current and former students from Kalo can come to share their project, their experience, knowledge, and to cultivate connection. And our vision is to create a network between people from Kalo and the various parts of the world. And actually today we are connecting a person in some way has been in touch with Kalo, and we are bringing her knowledge on the network. When we do it, usually we do the first Tuesday of the month, but sometimes can change. We are online. Is around an hour and a half, 2 hours. It depends a bit how curious we are about the topic. And usually it's from 7 p.m. until 8:30. For who is this meeting? All student or former student that finished school and they wanna maybe start to share some of the knowledge that learned out there, the experience that had in their project, and as well meet the new student, current student, people that are at the moment at school that are taking class and they wanna maybe find out more who passed through Kalo on what is happening out there in the world. And curious, can be friends, can be people that find out about the event and they want to join. At the end, it's open for anyone that is interested about the topic that we are sharing here. How much it costs? It's free of charge. Is the only cost that we have is the Zoom account that is completely covered from the student association that is part of organizing this event, like this movement, let's say. If you want to share a coffee, more than welcome. We will use it to keep going with more event and even more as we go now to have more ideas. Well, if you have some, we can give some energy to it. How does it work, the meeting? Usually we open the room 15 minutes before. We do a small presentation like now of the project of Kalo Café, and then we start with in this case we have one project. It can take around 30 minutes, an hour. It's up to the situation. Questions are more than welcome. This is why we allow as well to be live. So please, if you have any question, raise the hand, write in the chat, open your mic. Please bring your input. And then it depends how we feel. At the end, we have a bit of a moment to know more ourselves, because as I said at the beginning, this idea of this project is to cultivate the connection, create network. What's happened after? Ideas are more than welcome. So if you have an idea, please bring it up. Maybe we can make it happen here at Kalo Café, so it can be another presentation or talk about project. But as well, we are a channel to connect student to the student association. So maybe I can bring up the idea and we can make something different. Here we have some idea that already came, like make a map of active or all the student with project in around the world, create national hub, share a project, but any idea are more than welcome. And we have a Telegram account where we use to share it, to share some message, some information about the meeting, but as well we have a YouTube account, we have audio project, a podcast, and more things are coming as soon as more energy are coming up. This it is. So now I don't take more time, but I want to see first how we arrived today. How is the energy today? How is your energy today? Good. Astrid, how is the sun over there? Fresh, okay. All right. So I give the word to our guest, to our has been in some way a teacher for us as well, because I had the honor to meet her and listen a bit of what she has to share with us tonight maybe it was 15 minutes, and I get my mind blow up because it's wow. I had already spoke with some people that do this topic, but I love really the practical way and the way you explain to us some stuff. And I know that you have some videos for us to share later, but I don't want to take more time. So, Xena, thank you so much for coming from Spain. I will be online, but I leave you the word.
Okay, thank you very much. Good night, everybody. Bueno, good evening. Okay, I'm Xènia Torras. I don't know if you were as well with Alejandro in Spain, the both of you. Yeah, okay. Well, so I will not explain more different things. Maybe a little bit more philosophical than we did the last time in Manresa. But I shared at the end 2 or 3 videos that we talk about it when we did the I can't find the word now.
In person.
Yeah. Well, I'm Xènia Torras. I'm 50 years old. I studied at the university in Barcelona in 1993 to 1996. And I have a degree in agricultural engineering, and I travel a lot since I get pregnant with my first son 20 years ago. Next week will be 20 years that my old son was born. So then I stayed 3 years at home with my 2 babies, 2 boys. And later I was looking for a job that meant something, because when you are a mother and you need to go out from the house, you need something that really, really is nice for you. So I had this chance to work in a seed bank. So we started, it was a project that started 4 years ago. It started in 2002. And I started working there in 2002, 2004, really 2004. And I started working there in 2008, 4 years later. And so we grow the project to a bigger level. And now has been 21, 22 years since the project is working. And I will share a presentation about, well, it's a little bit, okay. It's I go to the first, okay, to the first slide. I wanted to talk you first of all of community seed banks, because at the end of the day is what we are. What
Just know we are still in the 19th page slides.
Ah, vale, pues espera. Stop sharing and share again. Okay.
This is what's a CSV?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. But I can, before it was working properly, and now it doesn't move.
It's okay. It doesn't move. You wanted me to share?
Yeah, let me try once again.
Yeah, take your time.
I don't know what. Oh.
Here we are.
Okay. Well, I put it full screen, but it's thinking, so I will move it by hand, and hopefully it gets full screen in some moment. Okay, a seed bank, a community seed bank It is a local, usually grassroots initiative that collects, stores, and shares seeds. No, we especially, exclusively work in traditional, local, or heirloom varieties. Because our aim, our objective is conservation and make available these seeds, these varieties, and as well to promote sovereignty in our area, in our territory. Usually community seed banks are managed by farmers, gardeners, or community organizations like ours. We are an NGO, a non-governmental organization, and our aim is to preserve this agricultural biodiversity. And most of all, which is the most important thing, and sometimes people, it's difficult for them to understand, is promote seed autonomy. I mean, our main aim is to collect from the territory these varieties, keep them, and later on that everybody is able to keep these seeds by their own. Our main objective is one day disappear. We work to really nobody needs us anymore in the future, and the seeds are kept again by the gardeners and the farmers. But I know it's a little bit naive thinking about it, but that's the main objective.
One step at a time.
Yeah, stop existing. That's one of the objectives. So Mira, now you see now the slides that they moved.
To see it, you're supposed to stop sharing and sharing the other page again. If you stop sharing and then you share again, we can see the full page.
This?
Yes. Try to move now.
No.
No. So no, you need to do without sharing completely, like just as it was before. I said it's perfect.
I don't know why before change and now it doesn't. Okay, so
you need to reshare,
I sorry.
Oh, good.
Stop sharing and this sharing and sharing again. Okay, this one, vale. So CBS, what we do is seed conservation. We store the seeds of traditional and local crops, and that they are adapted to local conditions. And the seed conservation helps to protect this genetic diversity and reduce mostly the dependence on commercial seeds companies or hybrids or patent seeds. So our main objective is make seeds popular, you know, from the people to the people again. It's really important that they are community-based. That means that they are managed by the local community, and that's important because the real changes are when they are decided by the people that have the needs. Okay, if you are a farmer and you have a need, but it comes some enterprise and says, okay, my technicians will make this new variety that will do this and this and this, that is not working. What it really gives solution to the problems is that the farmers work together with the technicians, that they improve and make new varieties. Community seed banks as well helps to be at this meeting point of exchange and sharing. The seeds are shared freely or through a system of exchange. It depends of the seed bank. And sometimes even they are sold to maintain the bank structure. But really, that's the important thing, is that the seeds move freely okay? And as well, an important thing that is mostly forgotten by the big enterprises is the traditional knowledge. I will tell you that even is more important than the seeds as the traditional knowledge. And the seeds, they are only the this way to explain this traditional knowledge. When you have the seeds and you give the people the seeds, is when you is a chance that you have to the transmission of this ancestral agricultural knowledge, this how to grow, no, how to save, how to improve even these seeds, and make them adaptable to the local conditions. And as well, obviously, the one thing is food sovereignty. You know, we contribute to the community control of the food systems, no, of reducing dependency on external inputs. Mostly, is you decide what to do and how and how you do it. Okay, so if we give value to the pros and cons, well, I put cons, but they are not cons, they are challenges of the community seed banks. The pros are protect local biodiversity. Okay, we encourage self-reliance. Like I said before, our main aim is one day not stop existing, you know, disappear. So that will be our top objective. We build community and collaboration amongst the community people. We keep traditional farming practices alive, which are important to the resilience of our society. And as well, we promote ecological and climate resilient agriculture. The challenges, more than the cons, is that we require consistent effort and coordination because we work locally. So if we were a big enterprise, that we will have big hubs through the whole territory, it will be easy, but we are independent associations or community seed banks that we have to work in a net, and that working with different people with different aims, with different realities, this is a big effort, a human relation and coordination effort, and that's one of our main challenges. As well, the risk of seed loss is because sometimes not everybody have the infrastructure enough to keep the seeds, and as well the lack of funding or institutional support. And as well, the main challenge which I think maybe would be the easiest, as well with the lack of funding that or institutional support, that it's easy to change, but as well there are the legal restrictions in some countries. But when I say some countries, I mean the whole Europe and United States as well, that they have some laws that they really put very difficult exchange seeds or even sell them, no? And that's difficult. Here in Catalonia, our community seed bank focus on preserving ancient varieties. I put you three pictures of three of the crops that we grow, like Mongeta del Ganxet. This is a very typical Catalan variety. Tomàquet de penjat, this is hanging tomato, the translation. Well, the first one is a bean. I didn't say it because it has this funny half moon shape, and is the most traditional variety in Catalonia. And this hanging tomato is one associated as well. I mean, all of them, they are associated to traditional dishes. And this is a long shelf tomato that you harvest in August, September, and you can keep it storage up to March, May of the next year. So they are really, really, really long shelf. And but we don't eat it raw. We put it in the bread. I don't know if you try it when you were there, but
Sorry, Xenia, when you say that you storage it, you mean you storage in a fridge, or how you
no.
store it?
No, usually it depends on varieties. There are some varieties that they have like 10 or 15 tomatoes in just one branch. So you cut the branch and you hang it. For this reason, we call hanging tomatoes, because we hang it. But there is some that these are the most popular, which give name to the variety. But later there is another varieties that the tomatoes, there is just one or two. So these ones, you put it in boxes and you keep it in a fresh place, but not a fridge, because it has to be a dry, cold and dry place. But that's not a problem because you keep it during the winter. So usually in the winter here is cold. So no need to fridge. For this reason, you keep it until March, May, because May starts to be warmer, and then yeah, you can keep it anymore. And this is a furmen. It's a wheat that is very high. It's higher than me, maybe 160 meters, 170. It's very high, and it's very good. For example, this variety, they didn't sow it before. It's for making bread. Is a bread wheat, and we didn't we stopped making it. But later on in organic agriculture, you need a lot of straw. So this variety gives you maybe 4 or 5 times more straw than hybrid or modern varieties. So all these farmers that they don't have much straw when they need it, they start to make this variety, and now starts to be really, really popular. I bring you some numbers from Esporus. What do we have in Esporus? Esporus is a seed bank of these traditional Catalan varieties. It's managed by LERA, which is our association. This non-governmental organization is called LERA, and we are in Campocoli, that you met last time when you were there. And we are one of the first, we really are the second community seed bank in Catalonia. And we are a reference in recovering, conserving, and promoting the local varieties, and as well of the dissemination of these agroecological practices. At the moment, we have 365 varieties. Last year, we multiplied 82 of these 365. We count that it takes us 8 years to multiply it. So I have been here 16 years. So I made the whole bank, seed bank. We renew the whole seed bank in 8 years. So we have renewed the whole seed bank in 8 years. There is some varieties that we have to do every 2-3 years, but there is some that we can wait 7 or 8 years to multiply them, to make new seeds.
Can you give an example of those that you must multiply pretty often and those that can stay longer?
Yeah.
There is a way to understand.
For example, pastinaca, which is like parsnip. Yeah, parsnip, which is this white root that's very popular in the north. Here, people, you have to do it every year. You can keep more than 1 year the seed, because it gets stops to germinate. For example, but we have just one variety because here is not very popular, this crop. But for example, onions, we have to do them every 3 years. And for example, lettuce every 4 years, tomatoes every 7 years. The longest are cabbage that we do it every 8 to 9 years.
Okay. There is a rule, like to say, okay, this family can stay longer or this not, or maybe
It goes by species, not by families.
by
Yeah.
species. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a species characteristic. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
And so we count with 50 plus participants in the seed cleaning volunteers day. Okay.
I think
We
Astrid
start.
has a question. I stop you so you have a bit of a
Sorry,
rest as well.
it's
No, no,
because
no, no. All good.
I can see, because if I see you, I don't see the presentation.
All good. Don't worry. This is why I'm
Yeah,
here.
sorry. Say.
No, I just think this is, yeah, it's super interesting. And this thing about how often you need to multiply the quality of the seed. So the quality is too bad if you wait too long, or what? Like, I get that maybe there's not a rule, but why is it so different? Like 4 years and 8 years, that's a big difference.
Yeah, it's complicated. Okay, so because varieties are nature and nature adaptates differently to the changes, but really the funny thing, which it took me like a couple of years to discover that, or 3. So when I discovered, my mind was, ooh, is that wild crops, well, not crops, wild relatives, okay, yeah, they have a capacity of germination we call in English.
You can say in Spanish if you want.
Sí,
In Catalan.
No, in Catalan, because in Spanish I am worse than in English.
En catalán, como
Sí, sería viabilidad. Viability?
like life shells.
Yeah, well, not really. It's the capacity of germination. Viability is a technician concept, okay, which is the capacity of germination of 100 seeds. So we talk about populations. So there is a law, at least in Spain, but I guess in the whole Europe, probably, and I'm 99% sure that you have, maybe it's not the same law, but quite similar in Denmark or the rest of Europe, that says which viability has, how many seeds they have to germinate to be able to sell this seed. That means that if I have aubergine seeds and I want to sell them legally, I have to do a lot of stuff. But one thing is that I have to guarantee that at least 65% of these seeds will germinate. But if I'm talking about tomatoes, that's a 75%. And if I'm talking about cabbage, no. Well, cabbage, no. Pumpkins, it's 85%. So that if not, I am saying that this seed is not viable. Okay. But wild relatives, they have this viability very low. For this reason, there is no laws about selling wild relatives, because that's very low. Why is that? Because when we domesticated the seeds, I mean, like thousands of years ago, when we start to collect seeds from the wild and we bring them close to our house, no? And we invented agriculture, like human race, I mean, no, not you and me, like human race. What we did is, okay, so I mean, you have to think in the nature strategy. The nature says, okay, you have 100 seeds of this wild relative, whatever you want, and I sow it. I'm not going to make them all be viable at the same time. Why? Because if it comes a drought comes too much water or fire or whatever, it will destroy it. So this population, it will be in risk of disappear. So my strategy is each year I will make just 3 seeds to grow. But in 60 years, they will still be growing, 2 seeds this year, 3 seeds the next year, 1 seed the third year, 2 seeds the fourth year, and that until maybe 60, 70, 80 years. So it's very difficult that during 60 years, there is a disaster each year. So this variety will not be lost, even there is a 10 years drought or there is fire every year for 5 years, whatever. When we, like humans, as humans, start collecting these seeds, we say, no, I can't wait, 2 seeds from 100 seeds every year. And the main selection that we did when we take these wild relatives to our houses to make them crops, it was make them germinate at the same time. So we get sometimes 100% of seeds, they germinate. That's quite usually happens. Okay, I take 100 seeds of tomato and they germinate, or lettuce, and they germinate between 95 and 99% or even 100% easily. Okay, but which is the price? The price is, okay, I will germinate all together, but in a short time, maybe during 5 or 6 years. So we changed varieties. We changed these wild wild crops or wild relatives and make them germinate all together, but the price was in shorter times. And each species, because it's usually by species, it adapted differently. For this reason, there is some that they germinate 100%, but during 2 years, and that's all. And there is another that say, but rarely without, if you freeze them, you can make wider the time. Wider, longer. Okay, if you freeze them. But if not, if you store it in good conditions, but in normal weather, they last the timing that I was saying before. And that's the reason, because it's because of the domestication. But if you go to work with wild relatives, that doesn't happen.
And just like a question, because you open this side of the storage, why we don't, I guess if there are like this seed bank in Norway that have the seeds from all around the world, I guess they freeze them.
Yeah, well, it's because that's in Norway, is because it's under the permafrost.
Yeah, but why we don't freeze them and we just do a simple, like the normal way to conserve it, which is the pro and let's say, for sure, the electricity and the energy part. But if we talk about the end product, how is the difference?
Well, because it's because it's expensive. Freeze them.
Okay.
That's a price question. It's easier, and at the end of the day, you don't want to sow some seeds that they have been storage. At the end, we talk about adaptability and resilience. So imagine that now imagine that I am freezing all my varieties and you sow them in 50 years.
Yes.
This seed will say, what happened? What have you done with my environment? You change it a lot. So we need every 3, 4, 5 years sow them because that's the way they adapt.
Okay, okay.
Okay, because if not, imagine a variety from 50 years ago, it's from the 70s. I don't know the weather there, but here the weather and everything, the environment, the pollution and the management, everything has changed a lot in 50 years. So these seeds are like what you know. So if you want them to adapt to your local, you need to sow them every 3, 4, 5 years. So that's what we do.
So just to be sure, so you can conserve it in the freezer so you don't lose quality, but you need to, like say, sow them to keep them to be adapted to the evolution.
Yeah, that's the key. Yeah. Svalbard, which is this seed bank that there is in well, it's Norway, but it's managed by Finland. I don't know. That's a funny thing between Norway and Finland, you know, Scandinavian people. I don't know how exactly it works. But to send seeds there, you have to be a government. And to take seeds out, you have to be a government. It's a backup. I mean, it's not really a seed bank like we talk, it's a backup copy.
Yeah.
You know, it's just for example, the only country that has take off seeds, the whole country, I think from 197 countries, 195 had sell their collections there, most of the countries, but just one country take out seeds, and it was Syria because of the war. So to take off seeds from there, you have to have a reason, an emergency, you know, a national emergency, a national something, and it has to be a government. Yeah. So that works.
Wow.
Okay, so, well, we have these plus 50 participants in our seed cleaning volunteers that they start in July and finish in December. We have 9 farms that they are partners with us, and they multiply our seeds, the varieties that they can be cross-pollination, like maize, like cabbage as well, pumpkins, onions, all these variety. If I have, for example, onions, I have 18 varieties, and I have to do them every 3 years. That means I have to do 6 varieties each year. So I need 5 farms that they multiply my onions. If not, they get cross-pollinated in my farm, and I have not the structure or the distance enough to keep them apart. We have 16 business that sell our seeds, and from now to December, we have the aim to arrive to 20. And last year, for example, 2024, we did 38 kilograms of new seed. And in the seed bank, we have a total of 244 kilograms of seeds. Here I put you our catalog from the with the 365 varieties and information that we have. And a little bit is why we conserve seeds. We conserve seeds because seeds are the foundation of our food, of our culture, of our biodiversity and resilience. And losing that means losing the ability to decide, mostly, no? To decide what we do, how we do it, and where we grow our food, no? We conserve seeds to preserve agricultural diversity, okay? To conserve and keep this genetic diversity alive, which is essential for the future breeding of an adaptation of the varieties. To make you an idea, since it exists industrial agriculture, we lost 75% of crop diversity. I mean, I'm not talking even about wild diversity, which the numbers then are even bigger. But that's a Food and Agriculture Organization data of this 75% of crop diversity since the 1930s, okay? And conserve the seeds ensures us resilience to climate change, which is the key of the future agriculture, is adapt our varieties to climate change. And this genetic adaptation, it doesn't appear from nothing. They appear from local and heirloom varieties. I mean, when we talk about hybrids and GMOs and all new varieties, they come all from the same. They come all from local and heirloom varieties. They don't take them from a hat like a magician, you know. So the genetic information is there, no? The drought resistance, the cold tolerance, the shorter cycles, everything is in these varieties. Okay, it supports conserving seeds, supports food sovereignty. I mean, the key thing is farmers and communities controlling their seed supply, because if we let seed supply in the hands of big large corporations, they will decide what we seed and at what price, and they will decide about the most important thing of our life, that it's our alimentation, our food. Okay, so I mean, humans, we are what we are because we eat 3 times a day. If somebody is deciding what we eat, they are deciding what we are. Okay, so it's a way, sovereignty is a way to protect against seed patents, GMOs, etc. No? And as well protecting of the loss of our traditional knowledge, no? And knowing how to do the things. It helps maintain our cultural heritage, our stories, our traditions, our rituals. What makes us human, I mean, different from animals, is the cultural heritage, no? And as well, why not for future generations? I mean, seed conservation is intergenerational work, and it's important ensure to our children and grandchildren have the freedom and the tools to grow the real food that they want to grow. No, let them something to choose their future and their present as well. Because one variety is lost, is often gone forever. I mean, it's difficult to get them back. And the work that has been done for hundreds of years is lost in a second. But the main important thing, the interesting thing I like to explain is that which are the consequences of not keeping our seeds, because at the end of the day, the farmers, they are very busy. So they are saying, okay, we have no time to do as well the seed, to keep the seeds and clean them, but there is a very a consequence very important, which is genetic erosion. No, that genetic erosion, it refers to the gradual disappearance of genes and traits from populations of plants, of animals. And that happens when traditional varieties are replaced by modern varieties, when the wild relatives are lost due to the bad management and the consequences of urbanization, pollution, deforestation, etc. And when local breeds or crops, they are no longer maintained. So keeping these and avoiding these genetic erosions is important. The main causes from this genetic erosion are the industrial agriculture, okay, which promotes monocultures. That's a vast field planted with one genetically uniform variety. Traditional varieties are abandoned and because they don't fit mechanization sometimes because they don't fit market needs, which are not really market needs. I mean, they are not consumers would say, oh, I don't like this tomato. They are the main distribution that says, oh, this tomato, it's not, doesn't fit my requirements. This food system globalized, no, which few crops, I'm talking about 5 crops, are 90% of calories that they are consuming in the world, you know, with rice, wheat. So this makes this at the end makes us sick people, sick humans, because we don't have enough variety, and local food cultures are marginalized, no, and some of them they are disappearing in the last centuries. As well, we have a reality of climate change and habitat loss, which push many varieties and species beyond their limits, and the loss we talk about, the loss of these wild relatives, which are the key to the future breeding and resilience of our agriculture. Without these wild relatives, we will not have, and heirloom varieties, we will not have crops for the future. That's a fact that we have to start to face. And as well, and I talked it about before, and probably will talk it later on, because it's the legal and economic pressure. These seed laws, these patents, these corporations that make lobby, they make really hard. They are all just the main aim is make hard for small farmers to save and exchange seeds, even to criminalize their activity. And that's the one of the main causes of these genetic erosions. And that's these were the causes, and then there is the consequences. And which are the consequences? Well, less adaptation to the future challenges like pests, diseases, and climate shifts, greater risk of crop failure. No, you know, if you have a crop and it's all the same variety, and with a single disease, you get 0. You can have 200 hectares, and with one disease, you get 0. If in the place of this one variety, you have 1 hectare of different crops, different species, and different varieties from the same species, one disease maybe kills you 10, 15, or 20%, but it will not kill you everything. There is not any disease that attacks the tomatoes and aubergines and peppers and cucumbers or courgettes. Okay, so it could be something that affects you economically, but it doesn't kill you all, no? Then there's as well, one of the big consequences of having very little crops is that we depend on a few seed companies. And when I say few, I mean really few. I'm talking that 75% of seeds that they are selling in the world are in hands of 10 companies. 10 companies sell 75% of the seeds. So, I mean, if these 10 companies are deciding the future of humanity by their own, I mean, imagine the lobby pressure that these companies can do. And as well, the loss of flavor, nutrition, and cultural identity. No, I mean, genetic erosion is not just about seed. What is more important is about power, culture, and survival. And if we don't protect the diversity now, we sooner or later we will pay the price. That's easy. I have a picture here. When I was talking about the genetic erosion, sometimes it was a hard concept to explain, mostly to young boys and girls that sometimes they have in the school, that they are like 16, 17, you know, like genetic, sometimes people get like stressed with genetic, oh, genes, they're so complex, no? But I found it in National Geographic 2011, this picture. It was actually, it was about genetic, it was a National Geographic November 2011 that was talking about genetic erosion, the whole magazine, and it has 2 or 3 really interesting articles about farmers around the world that were making. I remember an article of a farmer that was a Peruano.
Peruvian.
From Peruvian, that's a word. People from a boy, well, a man from Peru, a farmer from Peru, and he was explaining how he was sowing 35 different varieties of potato, and very interesting article. And I saw this image. I don't know, infography, call it what you, and it's very interesting because it says that that's from 1983, or from 1903 to 1983. Okay, so 80 years, and it's just about, but to have an idea, it's not talking about local varieties. It just talk about commercial seeds, and it says that, and it talks about just that's numbers from United States, just the States. I mean, it doesn't talk about Europe or the whole world. But for example, in 1903, a farmer from the United States could choose among 463 varieties of how you say it, rabanito, of peas. Well, we can make another example. Peas. Guisante is peas, okay? You can choose among 408 varieties of peas. Why do you think that there is why do you think they offer 408 varieties of peas? I mean, at the end of the day, the peas are all the same, round, green, and...
It's a question, right?
Yeah.
Anyone feel to answer or to have an idea?
An idea? Why 408 varieties through the whole United States?
Please.
No?
Yeah.
I'm thinking there's so many different local climates that might fit. And I'm also thinking that there's might have been a lot more different local dishes. When I'm thinking back to my grandparents, they would use different peas for different dishes that we now might just use the same for.
Okay, so the different adaptation, different climate, okay, that was the reason. So probably the farmers from Arizona, they didn't grow the same peas that the farmers from Iowa or from New Jersey. Okay, so they needed different because maybe the size, maybe the weather, maybe the humidity, this adaptation. But 80 years later, I'm talking about 50 years ago, well, 45 years ago. So probably now there is less than 25. We lost 383 of these varieties. We just kept 25. That's genetical erosion. So now they just can choose amongst 25 of these varieties. No, that means these crops that they're all the same, and it makes. I mean, they lost some of their dishes. They lost about their adaptability. So what they do now, they sell it and they say, okay, but this it has, I don't know, for example, more fungus. Okay, don't worry, I will sell you as well this product for the fungus. Okay, so probably these varieties, they work the same variety, making seeds of one variety. They can sell it through the whole United States, but they have to sell as well these chemical products, or these products that they say this package, technological package, we call it. So, well, it's more expensive producing the same. We lost adaptability, so we have to we start to pay now the price, and that happens with a whole. You can see just with the size, with the white of these bars. You can see that happened with all the. I'm talking about main crops. Okay, so well, these are the consequences, and as well, these are the know-how is just not, or is not just about conserving the seeds. If it's equally important, if not more, is the preservation of this cultural and agronomic knowledge associated with the seeds, no? How it is cultivated, no? How is the management, the irrigation, the pruning, the weeding, the fertilization, the health, when it's cultivated, harvest period, cross-pollinization, if there is any, treatments for the post-harvest conservation, storage spaces, infrastructures. That seems very easy and something, but it is not. Each variety has its characteristic, no? And as well, the uses of these varieties is important. A little bit to finish. I don't know if you. I don't know which time is it.
It's 8.
8 o'clock.
Yeah.
I have 3 or 4 videos of cleaning seeds. I don't know if you.
We love it. I have a question before we start this, let's say,
Okay.
part of the topic.
Yeah.
Before you say that 75% of seeds are sold from 10 company, no? Who are those people that buy from you seeds?
Well, there is mostly small farmers.
Okay.
And because the small farmers, they sell at the end of the day, when you see the face of the person that you sell the seeds, the food, no, the crops, the product, you have like a kind of compromise. I mean, you can sell shit if you sell it through a big store or whatever, but when you sell it straight to the man or the woman that will eat it, I mean, you look twice, no? What are you doing with your crops? And as well, because they need variety, because people that goes to buy to them, they want to buy things that they don't usually found in big storage, big supermarkets. That's a word.
And if I can add that, I like that you say that, because actually it's one of the points when I do consulting to farm and stuff, I make them to understand that if they don't do something different than the big, they cannot survive. And this can be like a...
No, because you have to do something different. That sometimes there is farmers that they want. There is people that ask them for traditional dishes, or traditional products to make traditional dishes associated to parties or, well, festivities, more than parties.
And if we go to the more, let's say, production part, I guess, or maybe it's not like this. If you use, like, say, more ancestral seeds, the gathering at the end can be higher, lower. We know that for sure you have to put less input when we talk about pesticides, and it's stronger for drought and I mean, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, for one side, you use less pesticides and less product, and less water as well, and sometimes even less human work, because they are adapted, and maybe you don't need to be, at the end of the day, when you use pesticides and you need somebody to put them, and that's wages. It has to be a person doing that for X hours, and you have to pay them, a fair price, or at least a legal one. So it's not just the product, as well, the person that put it, and obviously as well the health of the person that put it, that can be yourself even. That's one thing. The other is that you can't, there is some varieties, they produce the same, even better. not all of them, maybe not the majority, but not always the production is an issue. There is some varieties that they work perfectly. You have different things adapted to, for example, you can have products that nobody else has, so you can make them pay more expensive, you know, because if you have one variety, for example, we have a cabbage here that it's to make a sweet, like a kind of marmalade that you put it in pastries, and it's very traditional. It's but it's little people doing it. But if you have 2 or 3 pastry shops that they buy it to you, because it's difficult for them to find it, so you can sell it at good price, and that as well has a good conservation, and as well, so that's mainly, I mean, you can compensate less inputs and higher prices. Or, I mean, I don't like the word higher prices. I like the word more fair.
Value?
Fair. That they are fair. The prices are fair.
Correct. Okay.
Just what they have, they must be, because most of these big distributors, what they do is get low prices in some products to get you catch, and then you go there and you buy the rest for higher prices. So at the end, they are not that cheap. So you just charge fair prices for your work.
And just because we talk about prices, are seeds, the cost of seeds are much big difference if you compare this with those, let's say, the more commercial as a cost?
Yeah, they are, and mainly because we do it in a local, so we have little machines. I mean, little quantity, not that well, the machines are a little as well, and so more artisanal. So yeah, the prices, no, but what I always say is, okay, ask me how I do it, and do it yourself. I don't want to be supplying seeds for you forever. I mean, if you like this, I mean, it's okay. I will do 365 varieties, and maybe I have 75 varieties of tomato, and you don't know which ones. You buy me and you try it. But when you found the variety that works for you, stop buying me seeds and start doing it yourself. And obviously there is some seeds that they are a little bit harder to do. Okay, these ones you can pay for the job, but the rest, do it yourself. At the end of the day, I mean, a tomato seed, if you store it in good conditions, I mean, I'm not talking about the Svalbard, I'm talking about a fridge, or even a dry and fresh. You can have the seed for 5 years. You don't have to make seeds or keep seeds each year. Every 5 years, you just renew your collection or your proper seed bank, and say, okay, this year we will do, and each year you do seeds from 1 or 2 crops. I mean, you don't have to do seeds from 25 crops. You know what I mean? So, I mean, it's just organization, and I think, well, at the end of the day, the farmers have done their seeds always. So, and something that they comment, I don't know if you have been working with farmers, but a thing that they always comment is like, I buy this, but it appears, you know, they buy the seedling, no, the little plants, and they say, I buy this, and I don't know what they say that was this variety, but at the end is this other, and that happens almost every year. You know, they found that they have 500 plants of a variety that they thought that was another, and sometimes it's okay because you don't mind, but sometimes it's like, Jesus, what I'm doing with all this product, you know. So at the end of the day, if it's your seed, that doesn't happen to you. You're sure what are you going collect, no, to recollect.
I think we connected perfectly with the next topic, let's say, cleaning seeds.
Cleaning seeds. Yeah. I will. I think this one. Stop. Dejo de compartir.
Please, if you have any question.
Yeah.
We love it. We love them.
Yeah. If you have. Now I lost all of you. Okay. Any question?
I have a small. Yeah, I have a question, but it can also be taken later if you were.
No, it's okay.
Okay, I'm just wondering, like, to combat all of this like genetic erosion of losing like our heirloom varieties, is like obviously sometimes there might be someone who has saved it and we can breed it up to like a proper size of seeds, but sometimes there's just not, like sometimes we only have the hybrid left or the F1 hybrids left. Do we then, is it like possible to select for offsprings that of like hybrid varieties that then one point we can make them more heirloom like again? No, it's when it's lost.
Well, obviously everything is possible. No, nor in a lifetime. Okay, like do you know how hybrids work?
Yeah, little, unfortunately.
Yeah.
It's a little bit crazy.
Really, what they do is first select, like they call pure lines, okay, which will be the fathers and mothers. Okay, so you select two pure lines that they have they have characteristics, and they okay, that will be funny to find the words. They have the
Try in English or
yeah, in Spanish. Los caracteres dominantes y recesivos. The
dominant and recessive.
And recessive. Okay, so you have what you have to do is confront them. For example, and you do it with a lot of characteristics, not just one. But if we are talking about color, okay, so red color is a dominant characteristic, and yellow color is a recessive characteristic. So I have to choose lines that they, if I want a red tomato, to be sure that it's red, I have to take lines which are or both red, the father and the mother, or they have red and yellow, for example. Because if they have red and purple, then it will be problems. Some of them will be red, some of them will be purple, but or will be a reddish purple color. But if I want red, I can work with this, okay, with these two lines. So imagine that we use red. If we use red and red, it will be always red. But if we use, for whatever reason, red and yellow, my F1, which is the hybrid, it will be red, okay? Once I have this, you say, okay, now I don't want to buy to this company. I love this tomato, but I don't want to buy to this company more of their seeds. I want to keep this variety by my own. So you take the seeds, and this variety, which has a dominant red but a recessive yellow, will multiply with all that they are the same. They have the same, all of them have the same information, dominant red and recessive yellow. That means that when they get cross red and red, it will be red. Okay, 25% will be red. Red and yellow will be red. 50% is red. That I'm talking about F2, the second generation after the F1, which is the hybrid. The third is red and yellow and red. It will be red. But the fourth, statistically, will be yellow and yellow. So F2, I will have 75% of the tomatoes, they're red, but 25% will be yellow. Okay? So statistically, you will, and this you have to multiply it. And when you multiply it, because you will take the yellow ones and take it off. And you will have some of them that they are red and red, but some of them, you see them red, but still will be red, yellow, red, yellow. So next generation, E3, it will happen the same. It will not be 25, but it will be 23. And next generation, and as well, and you will do this maybe 12, 15, 20 years. And that's just the color. And then the size, it happens the same with the size, with if it's empty or it's full, it has the smooth skin or it has more rough skin. It has, with a lot of characteristics which are there, they're mixed there. So to arrive to get the F1 ideal, that's the one that you wanted, it will take you like 25, 30 years of selection. It's a hard work. I mean, it's not impossible, it's a hard work, and there will be always some genes that every 4 or 5 years it will appear a yellow plant that you say, Jesus, where that comes from? Like 45 years later, it appears a yellow plant there and says, what that comes for? This recessive that is kept there in some seeds. So, yeah, I mean, it's not obviously impossible, but I mean, I think about the seed enterprises, they, with tomato, for example, they are able to do 3 or 4 crops in 1 year. You in your farm are able to do just 1 crop in 1 year. You are not able to do not even 2. One and something if you are in the southern countries like Spain with greenhouses, maybe you do 1.3 crops a year. So, and they are doing 4. So it's difficult to catch with them. Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you. So when I'm choosing like what seeds to buy and I want to seed save, then you would recommend only heirloom.
Heirlooms or even commercial, because that's commercial. It doesn't mean commercial is translational selection, is Mendel's, Mendelian genetics, which these are you can it has traditional cross pollination that will be, but if it's an F1, well, I mean, you can try it, but it's difficult that you can get in less than 15 or 20 years something that it looks like more or less the thing that you. Another thing is that you don't mind what it appears there. So you say, okay, no, for me, yellow, it's okay. I don't mind it. All are tomatoes. I mean, if you don't mind, if you this diversity, you embrace it. Yeah, well, I mean, you can do it, obviously. Yeah. Yeah, okay. So I have this first, I have to share. I have this first video. I think that I show you when we were in there, in, ay, merda.
It's okay, it's okay.
I just I jumped to the next
it.
video. I thought that was play, and okay. Okay, this is the inverted sieve, the inverted sieve technique. Okay, when we clean seeds, I don't know why I jumped the slide now. I'm thinking we have 2 methods that we talked about. If you remember, that's the dry method and the wet method. Okay, and the dry method, once you have collected the seeds, the first that you check is that the seed is dry. Okay, and it has to make a funny noise. and then you put it in the floor, for example, if you have low quantities, and if it's very dry, you see the seeds fall, okay? And once the seed fall, what you do, the technique is passing through two different sieves. One sieve which the seed goes through the hole, and the other seed where another sieve where the seed doesn't goes. So at the end, you just get the seed and all the vegetable parts. You have seen it in a minute. We clean half of this. And finally, what we can do is wind this seed. You can't see it here because of but just with air, passing passing them one to the other, gets all the vegetable part flies away, and you get the clean seeds. The other video is this one of the lettuce. That's a lettuce here. Okay, so I think you can see it here, the flowers that they're usually yellow, and here they get these like white fluffy, and what we do is we make fall the seeds to a basket, okay, to pick up all the seeds that we can't. And here, one important thing when we do this to the lettuce is to see this. You can see all the little animals. I think you have seen it. All the little animals that the ants and well, I don't know the name in English of this, the snails and everything that falls. So we wait 24 hours that they all go away, okay, 48 hours, and they leave. And we do again this inverted sieve technique, which first we take the seeds through a sieve that the seed doesn't pass, and later as well one with the seeds that they pass through, and there is here the seeds, and then you wind them a little bit, and finally after wind them a little bit, it gets the seed very more clean. And here well, that's because it's a YouTube video, and you put the silica gel and the pot. Okay, so these are these videos, and I have one with aubergine and one with tomato, and I show you the three of them, the two of them. Vale. Pause in, I share it again. Okay, with the aubergines, as well, the most important thing is knowing that aubergines, we usually eat them when they are babies, when they have no seeds. So what we have to do is wait until they change color. Okay, so we don't take the purple ones, we take the yellow ones. You know, this brownie, they were purple, they start changing brown, and finally get this yellowish color. Okay, so once we have them, we break them and we put them in very cold water. We have to be very careful because cold aubergine seeds, they germinate. I mean, that's a seed that you put them water, and here it's full summer. Here maybe we are 32, 35 degrees temperature when we collect them. So what we do is do it in the first hour in the morning, and we put cold water, and sometimes even if it's that may be because it's 6 or 7 a.m. in the morning and it's cold enough, maybe we are 20, 23 degrees. But if it's warmer, it's like 9, 10 in the morning that we are over 30, what we do is put ice on the water to be sure that it's cold. If not, it's very easy that the seed germinates. So we cook them and we let it soak for like an hour or so, because when it germinates, the meat, when it germinates, sorry, when it gets wet, the meat of the aubergine gets absorbs water, so it gets bigger and the seed falls easier. Okay, so we let it for a while, and then with the fingers you just take out the seeds. That's not difficult, and you do it, well, a little bit, yeah, like this, with the fingers, taking all the seeds. Don't worry if it falls some meat of the aubergine, because we will take it easily later. And you see that the water is black. That's because aubergine has a lot of solanine. Okay, so for this reason, it's I mean that it's normal. It happens always. It gets this solanine oxidates and gets this black color. So you do this, and then you make like that, and you see all the seeds in the bottom. You see it, and that's it. And you put more water, and as well clean water, and you do it a couple of 3 times until the seed gets completely clean. And then you put the seeds to dry in a fresh, don't use sun. Okay, I think I explained you last time that if you put the seeds in the warm of the sun, they get dry very fast, and sometimes the seed what makes is close the stomas, which are the places where the seeds breathe, change gas with oxygen with the exterior. So it closes so fast and they get sealed, so the moisture inside the seed makes it rotten. So it's better don't do that. Okay, just dry it with a wind, I don't know, ventilator. I don't know if you say ventilator, okay, or wind machine. And once it's dry, well, that's you let it dry 3 weeks, and then we put them in a, once they're dry, we put them in a, we can put it in a pot, a glass pot with silica gel, or you can put it in a paper bag or a cotton bag. I mean, if in the pot you have to put silica gel to absorb the moisture, but in the paper bag is better because they can breathe, and it's important that the seeds breathe. And the last one is the tomato one to finish, and is this one. And no, I didn't select properly. A ver. Now, okay. I found it. I share it with you. Moment. Okay. This is the tomato one. And tomatoes as well, like aubergine, better if you collect them when they are, you can see it here. Well, this video is not good quality because it was with an old phone when it was done, but the tomatoes are a little bit like soft. I mean, that's because as well, like aubergine, we have to wait until the end of the cycle, but because as more soft and mature is the tomato, more quantity of seeds have done the cycle. So what we do is we open the tomatoes and we extract the seeds, which is very intuitive. And here you can take it. And what we do is like a fermentation you can see after 4-7 days, it gets like this moldy thing. That's the fermentation. It's finished with this white, usually whitey color, you can see. And then you put water and you do like aubergine before. Okay. And as well, like aubergine, all the empty seeds and all these moldy things and all the meat of the tomato, it will float. And the good seeds, that the ones they will germinate, are in the bottom. And you, like in aubergines, you do it like 2 or 3 times, a couple or 3 times until they get completely clean. And later on, they work the same like aubergine. You put it through a sieve, you put it to dry for 3 weeks in a dry place. If it's very warm and you're worried that that will germinate, if you are not sure that will be dry in 2-3 hours, you use a ventilator to help you dry it off for a couple of 3 hours. After 2-3 hours, the ventilator gets the seed dry, not from inside, but enough from the outside to avoid it germinate. And then obviously you keep it like the others. And that's a little bit all of my presentation. Yeah, that was all.
Thank you so much.
More questions?
I had already my mind blown when we were there in person. And I mean, I spoke with you a bit last time, and I know that you have much more to share. Thank you really for the job that you're doing, but even more for, I mean, spreading out and being here tonight. I don't know if anyone has some question before we, I mean, make Xènia to rest as well. I have one. I was trying to look for the video and the information, but I had a person from Peru that was showing that if you get even an hybrid seed, and you put in the salty water on the ocean, not in the sea, but in the ocean, and you leave it there, I mean, not in the ocean, but get in the water and leaving the water for...
because you lost it in the ocean.
For 24, I remember it was 24 or 48 hours, and then you seed it, the seed will bring the knowledge back from where the first generation come from. Of course, you cannot decide what it come out, but it say it come out something completely different than what you buy. I don't know if you heard about it.
No, never. No, really, I love it. These things, sometimes I try it. This one I never heard before. And I try it to usually to this information that came to found a scientific explanation at least a little bit of, not always you get an answer. It's okay. I mean, at the moment,
case,
I can come why that happens, but what I think sometimes with these things, I mean, it's not the same, okay? But have an idea. I remember once at the beginning having a discussion with some. We do two seed banks meeting from whole Spain twice a year. Okay, we do twice a year, and we learn, we share knowledge, we explain things, we decide, we make lobby, whatever. But later on, you have your dinners. We stay like a whole weekend, usually 3 days. So we share, like time. And I remember times drinking and whatever, which is what in Spain we do. And I remember one having this conversation about, I mean, when a farmer gives you seed and it says, has been in my family forever, can you believe it? It's always true. And, because sometimes you see that that's not true. There is something that you feel, or the variety, it looks more like a commercial variety, or sometimes you're like, it doesn't look like, I mean, you're a very untidy person, and this variety, everything is very, but this variety works properly, like it's not, sometimes it doesn't. And I remember from a seed bank from Andalusia, from the south of Spain, and he was saying, but that's not important. I mean, at the end, it doesn't matter if this variety was once heirloom variety, then an enterprise took it and make a commercial variety. And later on, it came back to the house of this man. And this man keeps managing like a heirloom variety. It's, I mean, genetically, maybe it's not, but at the end, the know-how, the information, the tradition, the dishes, for him, it works like it was working, the one that, because at the end you have seeds and 1 year you can have a problem. And when hundreds of your neighbors keep the same seed, it's easy to get seeds from the rest. But when you are the only one keeping this variety and 1 year, you usually have, 300 grams for sowing. But 1 year you just have 100 and you need 200 more. You go to the shop and choose one that works more or less like the one you have, and you keep it. And that was 25 years ago. And you, I mean, farmer is not lying. It's just not remembering that. And that is sure it happens hundreds of times, hundreds of farmers which are not lying. But at the end, the important is how he feels. And what you're explaining to me, it looks like a little bit like that. I mean, it's doesn't matter genetically how is this variety. Which is important is how he feels, how the farmer, the person is keeping it, feels it is and wants to be. Because if he wants that variety became that, it will be that. So I don't know. I mean, scientifically, it has no sense what you tell me. That's okay. But I like it that there is a ritual about, no, I am cleaning it 24 hours in salty water from our ocean. That's, for him, it's cleaning, it's like, I take all the bad and I take this variety, and from now on, it will be what I want to be. That works for me.
Amazing. I don't know if Astrid, Grow, you have any question, or
I just wanted to say
please.
Thank you. It's like this, and just like the last time I met you in Catalonia, I think you gave me a lot of and there's a lot of bravery around seeds, and I have been using your methods and trying, and I'm super grateful for being introduced in such a lovely way to this. And I'm continuing to learn. It's really nice.
Thank you, Bro. Lovely. I'm happy.
Thank you so much. And I brought a highlight from what you say today, and I really love it when you say the traditional knowledge, like what people bring beside the seeds. I think it's amazing that, I remember you said that you even write it down, all this information, so to pass
yeah,
through.
that's
Really
the hard.
happy.
That's the hard work. That's the hardest work. Yeah.
And nothing before really. Thank you so much, Xena.
You're welcome.
And who knows? Maybe we see again in Marbella. Not Marbella. In Spain. Or who knows? Maybe one day we'll see you at school in person. We will work on that. Maybe for the festival. And nothing.
Okay.
Yeah, so we make you to travel a bit as well in person.
That will
Thank you. Have a lovely evening.
Bye.
And I